Hey there, amazing friends. I warmly invite you to join me on this exciting journey by subscribing to my channel, liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. Every like, comment, and share brings us closer together and fuels my passion to create more great content. Your support truly makes all the difference. Thank you for being the heart of this community. Secret affairs and sinister endings, the twisted love lives of Tinseltown's most iconic stars. In the glittering realm of Hollywood, where every red carpet is strewn with flashbulbs and every new romance seizes headlines, it can be easy to believe that all love stories in Tinseltown culminate in triumphant success stories. But behind the forced smiles, airbrushed photographs, and breathless tabloid coverage, there exist shadowy tales of obsession, hidden agendas, and emotional labyrinths. Beneath the bright glow of marquee lights, many a Hollywood star's personal life has veered from enchanting romance into haunted drama. Over the decades, an array of secret affairs, manipulative entanglements, and even whispered tragedies have played out just off camera, reminding the world that the most cherished icons can harbor the most tangled loves. The corridors of studio lots, the hush of screening rooms, and the sanctuaries of luxury mansions have witnessed heartbreak that sometimes ended in betrayal or tragedy. Some of these stories are legendary, told and retold through rumor and half-buried confessions, while others lurk in the deeper vaults of Hollywood's hush-hush lore. Now, we delve into this world, peeling back the cinematic veneer to see the complicated, sometimes sinister endings that accompany Tinseltown's most iconic star-crossed relationships. It's a realm where desire collides with ambition, and illusions of love can be dangerously real. In the early golden age of Hollywood, power was concentrated in the hands of a few studio moguls, men who could make or break careers with a nod of the head. Under this system, starlets and leading men were groomed meticulously, given new names, new biographies, and carefully arranged publicity romances meant to enchant fans. The public devoured the images of radiant couples stepping out on grand premieres, minted as Hollywood sweethearts. Yet some of those carefully curated romances were illusions, created to conceal real affairs or to bolster the box office with manufactured synergy. In private, a different story was unfolding. It involved heartbreak, secret children, and hush payments from studios anxious to preserve reputations. One of the earliest well-known but hush-hush examples concerned a dashing matinee idol who, behind the scenes, fostered an obsession with a co-star half his age. Because the studio recognized the commercial value of the duo's on-screen chemistry, they did little to curb the star's pursuit, effectively normalizing a dynamic that, by contemporary standards, hints at grooming. When the starlet refused to reciprocate fully, she discovered a harsh truth. Her next contract renewal was abruptly deferred, leading to her disappearance from the marquee. The public never gleaned the real cause. Rumors whispered about heartbreak, a rumored mental breakdown, or an abrupt retreat from Hollywood, but in reality, it may have been a forced exit orchestrated by a scorned leading man. That starlet's name receded into the archives, occasionally resurrected by historians of the golden era as a cautionary tale about how controlling some male leads and studio executives could be. Through the polished magazines, the public never saw the dark line that separated stardom from ruin. Fast forward to the 1940s and 1950s, the machine of the studio system was in its heyday, churning out musicals and romantic dramas. Men in tuxedos and women in glittering gowns sold illusions of love so convincing that audiences projected them onto the stars' private lives. Among these luminaries was a legendary leading lady, revered for her comedic timing and bright laughter. Her public persona was effervescent, but in private, she was locked in a marriage to a controlling spouse, also a star, whose manipulative personality turned her life into a silent prison. The marriage was overshadowed by violent fights, documented surreptitiously by a close confidant. Some nights, bruises had to be concealed with thick makeup before filming started. The actress, once a comedic darling beloved by the entire nation, found that every attempt to break free from her husband's emotional grip was thwarted by contracts binding them together, or by the fear that scandal would sabotage both their careers. Eventually, an attempt at divorce ended in a quiet settlement, the hush money paid by the studio. She retreated from the limelight soon after, citing exhaustion, while whispers among the crew recounted nights of her tear-stained pleas in deserted sets. The scandal never fully erupted in the tabloids, thanks to powerful PR machinery. Only after decades, when a few diaries and letters from friends emerged, did the full extent of the psychological toll become apparent, unveiling a twisted love story that ended in her abrupt retirement from Hollywood, an outcome that left fans baffled but never truly informed. We can turn too to the glamorous 1950s, an era brightened by cinemascope musicals and epic historical adventures. Among the star couples of that decade, few sparkled more than a certain Cleopatra-like actress famed for her sultry roles, and an award-winning leading man known for his comedic range. Their union was hailed as a fairy tale pairing of passion and wit. But beneath that radiant exterior, sources close to them whispered about a lethal combination of mutual jealousy, hidden addictions, and suffocating codependence. The husband, who possessed a mercurial temper, would vanish into weekend benders, reappearing only to sabotage important events. The wife, revered as a screen goddess, was far from demure in personal matters. She was rumored to keep a little black book filled with potential paramours, directors, fellow leading men, even business executives. Their marriage teetered between all-consuming romance and violent meltdown. One evening after a lavish studio party, staff discovered them screaming in their mansion's gilded foyer, champagne flutes thrown across the floor, as half the production heads tried to calm them. Another time, an insider recounted how the wife arrived on set with concealed bruises, claiming she had slipped on a wet floor. The cycle of heated confrontation, followed by tearful reconciliation, repeated. It ended sinisterly one night in 1959, when the husband crashed his car off a canyon road after a domestic argument. Gossip alleged it might not have been an accident. No final conclusion emerged from the hush-hush police inquiry. The wife was left in emotional freefall, eventually drifting into a series of ill-fated liaisons, apparently chased by the guilt or sorrow from that toxic entanglement. The mainstream press wrote eulogies about a tragic accident, but Hollywood insiders recognized that the seeds of doom were planted in the dark corners of their love from the start. Even the golden 1960s, known for sexual liberation and rebellious youth culture, had its share of twisted Hollywood romances. Another famously troubled story centered on an iconic actress, admired for her comedic roles and a naive charm that belied her cunning intellect. She became entangled with a powerful studio producer known for rumored ties to shady business. Their affair was overshadowed by secrecy, for the producer was married, and the actress' squeaky clean image needed to be preserved. The more time she spent with him, the more secrets surfaced. He was rumored to launder money for questionable outfits, funneling hush payments to keep scandal at bay. She was enthralled by his power, seduced by the sense that he could realize her highest career dreams. Over time, though, she discovered the extent of his criminal ties, realized the cost of staying entangled might be her own moral downfall. Yet severing ties meant jeopardizing her future and perhaps her safety. The tension escalated behind closed doors. Some claim she was coerced into forging cameo contracts, forced to star in a film she detested, all the while smiling for the cameras. Ultimately, she made a desperate attempt to break away, confiding in a close friend that, if anything happens to me, it's because I tried to leave him. Soon after, she was found unconscious from an overdose in her Hollywood Hills home. Officially declared an accidental mixture of sleeping pills and alcohol, the event left speculation that perhaps it was orchestrated or that her despair had led to a self-inflicted overdose. She survived but emerged psychologically shaken, receding from stardom. Though never proven, rumors pointed to the powerful producer forcibly quieting her. It stands as another chilling example of a Tinseltown romance that devolved into sinister underpinnings, overshadowed by fear and manipulative power. Perhaps no iteration of heartbreak in Hollywood is more emblematic of sinister endings than those overshadowed by unconfirmed murder or suspicious circumstance. One might recall the case of a classical star from the 1930s, a time when studios reigned with a near-dictatorial grip on images and narratives. This star's rumored mistress was a young stage actress from back east, new to the film industry. They became publicly just friends, but behind the gates of his lavish Bel Air estate, they cohabited in secrets. Months passed, and she dreamed of a wedding, but the star's wife, a well-connected socialite, refused divorce. Then, under cryptic conditions, the young mistress vanished. Officially, she returned to the East Coast, the star claiming they had parted amicably. No missing person report was filed, so the story lay dormant. But diaries uncovered decades later from a staff member at the estate indicated a frantic night in which the star, distraught, ushered people out, commanding silence. The staffer later resigned, confiding that the mistress might have died during a heated dispute. The diaries allude to hush money and a quick disposal of the body, never verified, never prosecuted. Today, historians debate the truth. Did the star's mistress slip away to anonymity or meet a more disturbing fate concealed by powerful studio fixers? The incomplete records, combined with no official police file, left only a dark, quiet question mark. The star himself passed away some years later, eulogized as a beloved leading man, never called to account for the possibility of a sinister secret overshadowing his romance. The layering of illusions persists in Hollywood's more contemporary eras too, albeit shaped by changing media and unstoppable paparazzi. Even in the digital age, the same pattern emerges. Iconic stars locked in secret affairs, hounded by tabloids, but occasionally culminating in tragedy behind the scenes. One might recall the case of a well-known 1990s heartthrob who soared from teen stardom to adult roles, all while entangled with an older, established actress. Their relationship remained a hush-hush rumor for years, each denying involvement in interviews. Some claimed the older actress manipulated him psychologically, fueling dependency and vulnerability, while the studios cynically orchestrated official girlfriends to keep up his public persona as an eligible leading man. In time, his mental health unraveled. When he ultimately died from an overdose in suspicious circumstances, some pointed to that hidden affair as a key factor. Perhaps heartbreak or emotional blackmail led him down a path of self-destruction. The actress publicly wept, disclaiming any blame, and the hush from insiders suggested that no further scrutiny would be allowed. It was a modern retelling of an old Hollywood pattern: illusions on the surface, heartbreak, and possible exploitation behind closed doors. Why do so many Tinseltown romances lead to such dark extremes? Some say it's the unique pressures of celebrity life. Filming schedules that tear couples apart for months, intrusive paparazzi that feed on every vulnerability, studio politics that demand a star maintain an immaculate facade. All these factors form a powder keg where manipulations, secrets, and resentments flourish. In that environment, love can become a twisted currency used by the powerful to keep others dependent, or by the ambitious to climb the social ladder. Add to that the pervasive presence of substances, alcohol, narcotics, serving as coping mechanisms for stress, which can morph heartbreak into tragedy. Studios themselves, historically, have been complicit, prioritizing box office potential over the well-being of their stars. They employ fixers to hush up arrests, abortions, violent domestic spats, anything that might tarnish the brand. The result is that some love stories remain forcibly hidden or relabeled with gentle euphemisms. As for the public, they get the sanitized version, a romance for the cameras, or carefully orchestrated breakups that lead to heartbreak ballads. At times, these twisted relationships even involve undercurrents of occult or spiritual manipulations. Rumors swirl around certain starlets dabbling in esoteric rituals to keep a lover enthralled, or about big-name producers with personal psychics who guide them on how to handle romantic entanglements. Some of these stories are no doubt inflated or entirely false, but they form part of the murky tapestry that keeps the myth of Hollywood's dark secrets alive and well. If love is already complicated for ordinary people, it becomes labyrinthine under the glare of unrelenting publicity and the manipulative games of an industry built on illusions. One might ask if anything has improved in modern times, with more openness about mental health, the #MeToo movement exposing patterns of abuse, and increased scrutiny from digital media. Indeed, some positive change is undeniable. But even now, new headlines surface about a star's suspicious overdose or cryptic disappearance from the limelight. The industry's underbelly, though less omnipotent than in the studio era, remains adept at covering messy truths. The interplay of wealth, power, and image fosters an environment where romance can corrode into something sinister behind the shimmering lens. The cautionary tales of the golden era thus remain as relevant as ever, reminding us that the illusions of stardom can conceal tragic realities, particularly in matters of the heart. When we piece together these stories, from controlling older co-stars to psychologically manipulative producers, from hidden affairs overshadowed by secrecy to rumored murders or vanishings, a consistent theme emerges. Tinseltown's fabled romances often teeter at the intersection of seduction, ambition, and darker impulses. The public sees a culminating tragedy as a passing scandal, overshadowed by new news cycles. But each star's downfall or disappearance quietly joins the mosaic of a Hollywood shaped not only by creative brilliance, but also by heartbreak, exploitative dynamics, and hush-hush pacts. Thus, while the industry's official narrative is one of glitz, art, and dreams, the sub-narrative is an undercurrent of twisted love, emotional violence, or worse, particularly among those icons who soared highest and fell hardest. For the contemporary fan devouring each new showbiz update or film premiere, the question arises: is it ethical or prurient to rummage through the darker corners of star lives? Perhaps the cautionary dimension of these stories answers that. By acknowledging that behind a beloved icon's glamorous love story might lie manipulation, heartbreak, or even sinister endings, we humanize these stars and possibly glean warnings about the price of power and illusions. We glean that in an environment where nothing is private, genuine love can rot under the pressure of image and control. We see that the tragedy of an ill-fated star is not wholly surprising in a machine that devours youth and discards vulnerability. If there's a glimmer of hope in these secret affairs, it might be that each new generation of Hollywood figures, armed with social media transparency and activism, can push back against repeating the same patterns. Some are more open about mental health, addiction, or manipulative relationships, diminishing the darkness that once thrived under hush-hush deals and studio-enforced silence. But the tension remains. A realm built on fantasy can become a breeding ground for illusions and controlling romances. Old patterns die slow. The truth is that Tinseltown's iconic tragedies cast a long shadow, fueling the cynicism of watchers who suspect every publicly storied couple might hide something ominous. Ultimately, secret affairs and sinister endings stands as a testament to the paradox of Hollywood, a place that cultivates our most cherished fantasies while simultaneously generating heartbreak behind the scenes. We watch from afar, enthralled by the glamour, unaware or only half knowing the personal tragedies playing out. The hush around these twisted relationships, kept in check by PR spin or misguided devotion, forms a hidden cinematic universe far more disturbing than any film script. This is the real Hollywood, an epic stage where star romances can glow with ephemeral brilliance, only to end in ruin or vanish under thick layers of hush money. The illusions enthrall, the heartbreak remains off camera, and the ultimate takeaway is that no matter how luminous the star's public persona, the bedrock of reality can be heartbreakingly sinister. Perhaps the next time we see a beaming couple gliding down the red carpet, we can't help but wonder what hidden tensions might dwell in that private realm, and how dangerously close might they be to toppling into tragedy. Thus, for every swirl of rumors about a star's new fling or hush-hush wedding, we might recall these cautionary tales, acknowledging that behind the beaming public performance lies the possibility of manipulative bargains, emotional traps, or lethal secrets. In that sense, Tinseltown's bright lights history is also a tapestry of black shadows knitted from the hidden heartbreak of icons. And the final lesson? Even the biggest star can find themselves the subject of a hush, 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 or the protagonist of a twisted love story that yields a dark final chapter. It's that blend of enchantment and treachery, love and exploitation, that cements Hollywood's legacy as not just a factory of dreams, but also, far too often, the stage of nightmarish revelations. The camera rarely captures that part, yet it remains embedded in the industry's DNA, an echo that lingers so long as show business continues to forge illusions so potent that even the real participants lose track of what is truly real.